So we're adding combat text. So when we are getting hit on, you can see the damage we're taking, and it's changing depending on who hit us. So time to finally get some combat text going. So to start off, we go into the prefab, we go into the player, and we gonna open that. Minimize this and add a canvas, canvas UI, canvas like that. And under that, you're gonna add a UI. You can use Text Pro, but I just use text for this one. And we're gonna make the text red. I'm gonna put it in the middle, and we're just gonna write 1000. And now we got this, and we're gonna add the canvas to world space, and we're gonna put the width and height down to 0, and these one to 0. So now we have this little box down here, and we can just move it up a bit like here. So what we need now is to get this text inside that box, but as you can see, it's very blurry. So we're gonna take this one and scale it up, and we're just gonna take the text and make sure that it goes towards, and scale it some more, and look how far we are. So we can take this one. Oh, sorry. Just need to put the height and the width to 1. And since we cannot see the text, I imagine it is because we're not done scaling. So now you see that it starts to come into the window, and then we can go into the game, and you see we have 1000 over our head. So we don't want it all the time, but it will kind of look like this. We can later add it, but this is just to make it very simple. And the problem is that it is not always facing us. With mirror, there is a script, so you can say face camera at that, or you can create your own script. It's fairly easy script to make. It's one line, so you just write public height face camera, and then you write in this in a late update. Oh, we cannot start the game in the prefab. So let's go again. So now we have 1000, and it will always look towards us. And now we're gonna change a little bit more to it and animate it. So it kind of looks, this will be how it will look when we get damage. Then we take the prefab and we go into the canvas text, and we're gonna add a new folder here and call it UI. Open it, put in the canvas text. Or actually, before we do that, let's rename it to combat text regular. Why do I make one called a regular? Maybe because we at one point want to make something for the crit and something for regular damage and something for dots and so for something for healing. So you can kind of change it to what you want. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into this prefab instead, and as you can see, it's kind of messy because this canvas environment thing up here, but for now just follow along. So just know that the text is inside here. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna add a animation to this, and for doing that we're gonna go to the animation here and call it fading away text, and just save it the same place. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some properties. So we're gonna go into the text and add the scale, and we're gonna go in and add another one also on the text and anchored position, and then we're gonna actually add in a component here which is gonna be canvas group, we'll have this alpha function that can help us fade. So we're gonna take alpha group alpha, and then we're gonna say, well, when it's at 30, it's gonna be faded away. It on the text we're gonna say it's gonna be up around here, so it needs to be moved. And maybe on the scaling, we can use the, let's see, how's it, rotation scale. We can do it a little bit wider like that. And then we can add the keyframes like this. So we have an animation that goes like this, which is not so good. So let's delete this part. So now we have an animation that goes like that. And if we go back to our player prefab, I actually think that we can see it. So click here. So it will look like this now when we are taking damage. And we will of course be able to change it, and you can change how you like, if you want it out here or turning and stuff like that. This is just to giving a easy way to do it. So if we go into the project and click play, we will see that instantly when we start, it will fade up. Or so you thought. It's a good idea to remember to go into the prefab UI and attach the actually clip. So fading away, you can go back, and then you can see, if you were very fast, you could see it happen. So let's be able to spawn it. So let's go into script, create a folder, call it UI, and make a new folder and call it combat text. And in here we're gonna make two scripts. One will be combat text, and another one will be combat text spawner, like that. And with these two scripts, we're going to go into the prefab here and take the player. No, wait, we have the UI prefab, this one, and go into that. Add the combat text script like that, and you could go into the prefab player and you can delete it, and you can add instead an empty game object and call it combat spawner, and you can add the combat text spawner to this one instead, and you can make a prefab of that like this. And then we are going to code inside this one. So we need to open the scripts, UI, combat text, this, and in here we just gonna namespace it to rpg.ui.damage text like this, and take this in here and just move all of this and leave it empty. Great coding. And then we're gonna take the other one and in there we're gonna do a bit the same. So namespace rpg.ui.damage text brackets, take off this, put it in here, and delete the update, delete the comment, and we're gonna make a public void, call it spawn, and have a float and a damage amount. And we're gonna say, we can also have a serialized field, serialize field damage text, call it damage text prefab equals to null, and this is an namespace, but it's used like a type. It's called combat text. And then we're gonna call the spawn here at start. You're gonna put in 11 or 8, that. And then we're gonna say damage text instance is equal to, oh sorry, combat text instance is equal to instantiate combat text and damage text prefab, and we're gonna do it at this one. There we go. And just to be sure, we are checking if all of these scripts are coming here. They are. So we need to go into the prefab UI, combat text. So this is scripts prefabs UI, combat text spawner, like here, and take this one in there. And we're just gonna double check that everything's animation is on and stuff. And now when we start, we should spawn the text as we saw there one time. So now we just have to call that method inside the game. Okay, so let's work on. Go to the UI scripts, go to the combat text here, and just delete the start method here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our player help script. So this process we're doing here now, probably gonna repeat 2 times, but next time you will know it. Player help script, and then we're gonna add a serialized field unity event take damage. That, and it says, hey, you cannot use that. So we're gonna say, why not? Oh, you need to use Unity event system. And then we have the Unity event system, and then we're gonna say down here, if we don't die, then we're gonna take damage dot evoke. And what does this do? It does so that inside our player, we will now see, let's see, prefabs, player. We will now see like an event system down here, so we can put in an event and say, okay, when should we take damage? Well, could be idea to do when we actually do this spawn. So we can put in the function combat text spawn and put in a number like 2, and then we can look at what will happen. And we start, and we go over to these guys, and every time they hit us, we get this floating text up. So if that's 2 on us or 3 in either, then we're gonna take damage, a lot of damage. But on the player, the combat spawner, they are all spawned here. So what we're gonna do instead is we are going to call a function on the C scripts UI combat text here. We can make a public void destroy object like this, and then you can say destroy game object. Right. And then we can go into the prefabs and make an animation event. So on this one, which have an, you go into the animation, and when the animation is done, like here, you can add an event and say, well, what event do we want? You can type destroy object, which we just made. I push D, or you can scroll down. And now when we click play, and we go over here, we can see that it's getting, yeah, I cannot even, we see it, and then it's get destroyed. So if we have all three on us, we get a lot of these combat text, but they get destroyed. So this is a way you also can, oh, I actually died. So let's start changing the text. So we go into our scripts, and we can, in this damage text, we can make a serialized field and ask for the text and call it combat text, like this. And we're just gonna say using Unity engine.ui, and we're also gonna need Unity.system, oh, Unity engine, like that, just system apparently. And then we're going to public void and say public void, what should set value, and gonna be a float amount. Gonna do like this, and then we're gonna say damage text dot text. Oh, combat text. Yeah. Let's see why. Oh, I wrote this too far up. It needs to be down here, and we can see equal to nothing. And then we can say combat text dot text, and then we can write string with a capital S dot format. Then we can do like this, yeah, and put in amount, and then we can go to the combat text spawner, and there we can say, okay, I want to take the instance dot set value and damage amount. So what you will see now is that the number we put in the parameter is the number that will come up, hopefully. So let's test it out. We forgot to go into the prefab and put in the text. And then we can try again. And we go in. We get smacked in the face too. Two. Okay. So let's those are the number that actually changed into our damage. So we go into the health player, and we are going to make a little bit of space here, and we're gonna set the Unity event system a bit different. So we're gonna say system serializable, and then we're gonna say public class and take damage event Unity events event, and gonna be a float. Do like that, and you don't need to put anything in there. And all we have to do now is that say this is the take damage event, and down here at invoke we get a problem, so we put in damage from up here, and then we need to go into player prefab, and On health, you see that we have this combat spawn, but if we look again, we have also a dynamic float now. So what we can do now is that when we go into the game, we can see that when they hit us, it's 3, 3. What about this guy? 20. So now we take damage, and it hurts, of course, and we are close to die. But we have to repeat all of this one more time for the enemies. But this is like the basic grounding for it, so we can add on to like dots and crits and stuff like that. We can like just change it. But this is the basic for it for now.